Hello, I'm Mrs. Shannon, and welcome to part 2 of how to create a documentary using 5 photos. In this video, we will be exploring editing tools. So I would like for you to find one of your photographs that could stand a little adjustments, and we will get started exploring all the wonderful editing tools available to you on your school iPad in order to turn a good photograph into a great pictorial artistic expression. And let's get started. The first thing we want to do is tap on the flower, which brings us to our photos and photo albums. I am going to start with a photo taken of my environmental that I have already edited. This photo has been cropped and text has been added. Environmental After School Project by Mrs. Shannon. Since I want to show you how I came to this end result, I am going to click on my edit button, hit revert, and revert to the original. Now you see what the original photograph looks like. If you look close to the right edge, you will see that behind my white backdrop, I have a little bit of background noise. So I want to start editing now. I have clicked on Edit, which was found in the upper right-hand corner. The first tool that we have is a magic wand, and it will brighten up our photograph. So I just brightened it just a tad, which is what this tool does. If I click it again, it goes off. Click it again, you see that the brighten feature reactivated. The next tool is the crop tool. When I tap the crop tool, it automatically straightens my image, and it cropped out the little bit of background noise that I had on the right hand side. I'm going to also slide in from the left and slide down from the top to tighten up and get rid of that extra space that I had above my arrangement. The next thing I might do, if my photograph wasn't quite accurate in how I wanted it to be straightened, is I can go over here and rotate this dial, which can allow me to angle my photo or straighten it up a little bit more if I didn't think it was in alignment. And I'm looking at the word crayon and I wanted it to be straight, and I just scooted the photo over a little to make sure that it was centered. Now that I like the way it looks cropped, the next thing I want to do is add a filter. The filter option looks like 3 overlapping circles, and it is the third option in editing. So when I click it, I will get an array of filters. By tapping each one, you can see the subtle changes that you will get in light and your coloration. I happen to like dramatic, so I'm going to go back and click that one. You can tell which one you have activated by the blue box that appears around whichever filter you select. Now that I have the filter that I like and the cropping that I like, I'm going to go down to my next tool, and when I click on it, I get a variation of options to lighten or darken my photo, to alter the color, or to change it to black and white. So the next thing we're going to look at is the lighting. When I tap the lighting, I can slide this up and down, and you can see where it makes some adjustments and how much shadow and how much light I have in this photograph. I like having shadows, so I'm going to darken it up just a little bit. Once I click on the 3 lines with the 3 dots,
I get even more advanced option in my lighting. Brilliance allows me to see a little bit more highlights. I like that. I'm going to tap on those 3 lines with the bullet points again and go to exposure. That makes a different type of adjustments in my lighting. I like shadows, so I'm going to darken it just 1 or 2 lines below the medium point. The next are highlights. The highlights are the white and the light areas of your photograph. Notice how when I do the highlights, I get whiter looking as opposed to a more yellowish looking. So I like that white look, but I have to really pay attention to what's going on with my notebook and not overdo it. Tap it again. Shadows. I love playing with shadows, and my cup is rather dark, so I want to kind of brighten up just enough to see some of the details in that black cup. Tap it again, and I have brightness. Again, it allows you to lighten and darken. I'm going to maybe keep it 1 notch above where it was. And then contrast. Contrast is where you get differences between colors and light and dark. So if I raise it up real high, look at what happens to that cup. See that? I don't want that much contrast. And if I go the other direction, look at the cup. You almost lose the red line. So I want to see more details in that cup, but not so much that I lose the true color that I'm trying to get. Yeah. 1 notch below the medium of where it was. Let's tap it 1 more time. And the last thing is the black point. The black point is going to actually work on just those areas that are black. See that? Can make that cup super bright or bring it down super dark. I want to lighten it just 2 notches, and that way I can see a little blue reflection from the mask onto the cup. Those are the type of details that you want to notice when becoming a true artistic photographer. Now that I'm done with all of those advanced options that were available to me under the light menu, I am going to now click on the color option under the 4th icon on my editing toolbar. The Brilliance allows me to make colors pop or to completely mute them to a black and white. And I kind of want more popping color. Look at how that red marker and that crayon box really pops using this particular feature. If you see the little gray dot next to the photos on the right hand side, that's where we started. And I'm pulling mine up to the halfway point between the complete Brilliance and where it started. And the very last option down there is black and white. If I select the black and white, then it will remove the color in my photograph. And I kind of like the way this looks, so I'm going to leave it alone at this time. Black and white allows you to do the exact same adjustments after you convert it to black and white as I was able to show you with the color option. Now that I have my photograph looking exactly the way that I want it, I'm going to click this last and final option, and it allows me to add text and more things. But we're going to start with markup, And it's asking, do I want to turn off live photo? Well, live photo is what happens sometimes when you're taking a photograph so that you can see movement. This is a feature that is unique to the iPad, and we should be taking photographs without live photo being on. So let's say okay, and now we can do some editing of adding text to this photograph. Over in the lower right hand corner, you see a blue plus sign with a circle. We want to tap that in order to get to our text tool. Once we tap on our text tool, a box will appear in the center of the screen. We don't want to keep the text in the center of the screen, and that's not going to be a large enough box for us. So by placing your finger on that little box and holding, you can move that text anywhere around on the page that you like. Because I have so much going on in the bottom part of my image, I'm going to put my text in the upper left-hand corner. But usually I like it being in the lower left or the lower right. By dragging it over, I can increase the amount of space that will be used when I'm typing my text. If you look down in the lower right-hand corner again, you see a capital A that's small and a capital A that's large. When you tap that capital A, double A, you will get the 3 different types of fonts that are available to you: Helvetica, Georgia, and Noteworthy. If you look again at the text box, you can see it change each time I tap one of those text fonts. I'm going to go with Noteworthy because I like it and it looks handwritten. If I slide the white button left and right where I see the A, I can increase the size and decrease the size of my font. I don't want my text to be too large because this is just a title and I don't want it to take away from the beautiful environmental that I have created here. Beneath the size adjustment slide bar, we have an option to make our text flush to the left, centered, and all the way to the right. For practical purposes, I generally like to select to the left, and depending on the way the text I add looks when I'm done, I may convert to centered text. Now, in order to type what I want in that box, I have to click 2 times into the box and I will get a blue highlight over the text. My keyboard shows up and I want to call this photograph environmental. The word comes up because I type it a lot, but if your words don't come up, type it in, and if you're not sure about the spelling, you need to do a spell check or look it up in the dictionary. You don't want any misspelled words on your photographs. So this will be called an environmental after school project. Notice how I type a capital letter for each word because it is a title. So each word should start with a capital letter unless it's in significant For instance, the word by does not have to be a capital B. And of course, a surname is always a capital. So you will be typing your name and you will be coming up with your unique title. Try to find something very interesting to name your image. This title is not very creative, but it does get to the point. Now that I have it typed the way I want, I minimize my keyboard and I have decided that I want to edit how it's going to be centered. And I'll go back over here and click on my AA icon and press the center option. The last thing that I want to do, it does seem to be the size that I want it to be, but I don't want it to be that color. I like black, but I want to do something that's going to be a little less pronounced in the photograph, because the black draws your eye a little bit too much attention to it. I could make it gray, which would make it more subtle, and I could make it maybe a light green or a light blue. So I think I'll go with a light blue because I have a lot of blues in my photograph. I'm going to tap on the color at the end because the color at the end gives me an array of selections. So I'm going to start off with gray to see how gray looks as a title, and the gray does look pretty nice. But let's go with the blue that kind of matches the card. I really do like that blue. Let's try the other blue down. Oh, that's too bright. So let's go back to the blues that are more gray and see which one is subtle enough to work for this card. I think I like that really deep grayish muted looking blue. I'm going to slide it a little bit over, and I think it needs to be just a little bit smaller. Just like that. Project, Environmental After School Project by Mrs. Shannon. I like that. Now I am going to drag it after I complete that down to the bottom so that you can see it's very difficult to read down there. So we're going to put it right back where it was, kind of centered over the card, and I'm going to lower it just a little bit so it's not up too high. And I like that. Once you are done, you can look up in the upper right hand corner and click Done. If for some reason you didn't type it quite right, in the lower left hand corner you have a hooked arrow that will allow you to undo the last thing you did to your photograph, because everything looks pretty good, and I do like the size of my font, and I don't see any misspelled words. I think I'm ready to click Done. Selection of Done. So clicking it again, it takes me back into where my photographs are located, and it shows the other photographs that are in that particular location. So everything's done, everything looks fine, and I'm done with this project.
Wasn't that fun, exploring editing tools? Now go through your photographs and see which ones could stand a little adjustment using the tools that we explored today. Have fun, creating images for your 5-photo documentary of environmentals, self-portraits, family portraits, and when we return, we will discuss what makes a great nature environmental.